Hey guys, thanks for joining our workshop on estate planning. Basically, we're going to talk about how to protect your assets currently and into the future, right? Because building a life, what comes along with it is acquiring things, assets. Those assets, you want to protect them. Also, you want to you want to transfer those assets to the next generation without excessive taxation, probate, delay, which can become very expensive. So those are some of the things that we need to know how to do, and we need to know how to do those things elegantly, as opposed to the traditional shade tree mechanic estate planning, where we're using quit claim deeds and we're using beneficiaries and things of that nature. We want those to smoothly, those assets we have acquired, transfer to the next generation. Okay, so let's get started. I have a PowerPoint presentation that I will be working with. Okay, and so one thing about this particular workshop, this is our third one, me and Nadine, is that it's going to, I normally would do 3 bullets, 3 ways, but I'm doing all 8 ways. So it's going to be a lot of information. Get your pens and pads. It's going to, we're going to allow for some questions, right? A few during the workshop, and then some more afterwards, so we don't be too lengthy in our presentation. Okay. Okay, so this one here is called 8 Ways Seniors Mess Up Their Finances and How to Avoid Them. And if you're not a senior, keep living. You will be one, right? So here are the 8 ways: probate, joint tenancy, federal estate taxes, taxes on Social Security benefits, and just taxes, period, is an issue, right? Inflation. You know, we're going through a period where we was like, wow, all the news was talking about inflation's at 10%. Was that real inflation, or that was just price gouging, which they're doing to us? Market risk, right? So having your cash assets in the market, have your cash assets out of the market, you know, so there's market risk. Nursing home costs and not planning, right? So these are the 8 bullets that we're gonna touch on, and some of them we're gonna rub more thoroughly than the others. So not planning to avoid probate. Pen and papers here. So what is probate? Probate is the legal process in which the courts make sure that after you die, your will is legally valid, your debts are paid, and your assets are distributed according to the instructions in your will, right? So a lot of people think if I have a will, I won't go to probate. Your will must be validated by the courts. So will or no will, probate, little things about paying my debts when I die. I got a problem with that. If I owe Mr. American Express some money, he can forget about it, you know. And then the instructions in my will. Who do I want my assets to go to, right? Because if you don't have those instructions, no matter what state you're in, myself in the great state of Illinois, they have their distribution system. And of course, it's not um, like we have, right? So our family structures is not as black and white. We might have play sisters, play brothers, children that we brought in, took care of, that we never adopted. So we don't want our stuff to go to probate. Why probate? If your name is on title of an asset and you die, the only legal way to take your name off the title of an asset and put the new owner name on is the probate process. So this is all probate is. You see the person signing that document there. So anything that you sign your name to, your house, your car, your stocks, your bonds, your pension, your 401ks, anything that you make a signature to in your asset, in order to get your name off of it, it must go through the probate process if you died with your name on it, right? So Joshua Pondexter, that's who I am. And I got Joshua Pondexter II. I have Joshua Pondexter III. So if any assets that I have, bank accounts, stocks, bonds, whatever I may have, if I die with my name on it, the second and the third, they would have to go to probate to get their name on it, right? So that's why probate. And so it's important to note what goes through probate. What assets do you have go through probate? Certificates of deposit. These things used to be out of date, but now the bank is giving 4-5% for a CD, right? So people are returning back to put money in CDs. Real estate go through probate. Businesses. A lot of people are unaware that your business will go to probate. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, personal property, your jewelry, your fur coats, your household goods. All these things go through probate. And then surprisingly, not every asset you own may go through must go through the probate process, right? If you own assets jointly, or you have a valid beneficiary, or own life insurance products, or you use a trust.
Share it on Facebook too.
Those assets do not go through trust, right? So there are shortfalls to these type of arrangements, right? Property that's held jointly, properties with beneficiaries, right? So what are some of the shortfalls to this? So say, especially in this day and age of marriage, divorce, and remarriage, right? So if you on your second or third marriage and you marry someone and this property is held jointly, it might not go to your babies. It might go to somebody else's baby. The same way with beneficiary arrangements, right? So you have, your life insurance policy and you wanted to go to your daughter, your son, but they have a spouse, right? And when you die, and if they die, it's going to go to their estate now, it goes to the spouse, right? And that's not what you want to happen. You want your assets to stay in what we call a bloodline direction, or go to the people that you wanted to. And this is where trusts are very, very useful in directing those assets to where they go without probate. Okay. This is the probate process, right? A petition for probate to begin. So you have to file a petition. So anytime you file a petition with the court, that's fees. The court takes control or supervision of your estate, right? Your houses, your cars, your boat, your business, everything. Now the court's in control. The judge approve your will and officially appoint your executor. So if you have a will, that must be approved by the judge, and then your executor must be approved, right? They have a whole system downtown there in Cook County to disallow your executor. They might say, well, hey, that person got too much debt. They got, Dr. So-and-so, they got all that student loan debt. Then they got that big house out in the suburb. They got that, they're not a good fiduciary. They got too much debt. Or they live too far away. So they have a whole system of disallowing your executor so that they can place one of their attorney friends in that spot. Then go inventory all your assets, right? So they're gonna go in there and that couch that got the plastic on it, they're gonna assign some value to that. All them whatnots in the chiffero, they're gonna assign a value to that. So they bolstering up that estate so they can assign more fees to your estate. So, and they're gonna pay your final bills, final hearing of notice to settle. Before that, dispute settles and assets distributed. So people can make disputes, right? They can be disputing over your assets. And no, mama said I could have this, or my aunt told me I can have that car, or whatever. So they have a en route to dispute over your assets. Of course, the executive's release, the file is closed. Seems like a pretty straightforward process, but the cost on average 3 to 10%. But I tell you that if your estate is bigger, they try to keep it in there longer. So you pay more fees, right? So if you got $1 million estate, your residence, your life insurance policies, your cash value rather, your vehicle, your business, that's $100,000 that gets stripped out of your asset that could go to the next generation, right? So don't want to do that. Very critical point here: will or no will, probate, right? Time delay, 6 months to 2 months. This is, of course, in the state of Illinois, right? A lot of states, it can take longer, especially the great state of Texas. They can take you 4 to 5 years to go through that process. AARP suggests $14 billion a year in probate fees, with 75% going to attorneys. So probate was started in England. It's been outlawed for over 100 years. We keep it going in America, what? Because of these fees, these attorney fees. And then it's public domain, right? Now, all of your private matter is a public domain, and then the sharks are going to come down there, the real estate sharks, the people that's trying to see if you got any jewelry or any vehicles to your heirs, and see if they need cash to make a sale. And if family lose control of the assets, right? So these are the things what's wrong with probate, right? So probate is to be avoided at all costs. Any questions on probate? No? That's good. Not a problem. I normally don't get a lot of questions because we're kind of thorough with this, So let's continue. So that's probate. It's to be avoided. It's a problem. One of the problems is that it's robbing our community of assets that we could transfer to the next generation. That we just did a little planning up front. Okay. So we will continue on. The next one, the pitfalls to joint tendency. So an estate planning disaster. And once again, we're looking at this from a modern lens: marriage, divorce, and remarriage, right, in our society. Could joint tenancy, one of the most common forms of holding title to an asset, lead to an estate and a financial planning disaster for your heirs? So there's some advantage to joint tenancy. Probate avoidance, assets held in joint tenancy do not require a formal probate, right? Especially between husband and wife, it just goes to the surviving spouse. Good, that's a good thing. The convenience, accounts can be withdrawn at death or managed during incapacity by the joint tenant. So you don't need any other legal documents to manage someone's account, such as a financial power of attorney, when they become incapacitated. So joint tenancy. This is some of the advantage, right? The disadvantages of joint tenancy: loss of control, increased liability, right? So now this is, that's why I tell you, if you married and you got a joint tenancy situation, don't talk to me. You got to talk to your pastor. Got to work that out with your preacher or whatever, your priest or whoever. You got marital problems, but you have lost control. So we got a joint bank account. That means that I can go in there and get money anytime I want to. The other person can go and get money anytime they want to. So if you got a financially irresponsible person that you got this type of arrangement with, could be a problem. Increased liability, right? So say, for instance, once again, me and my spouse, we have a joint tenancy on our accounts. They go and, commit murder, right? Vehicular manslaughter with their car, and we get sued for $2 billion. That's increased liability. Now they're gonna make a run on all of my stuff, right? Joint tenancy, serious problem. Assets may not reach your children, right? So especially if it's a second or third marriage, and I got joint tenancy, it might not go to my children, it might go to the other person's children, or their stuff might go to my children, right? These are some of the disadvantages of this structure, right? Potential penalties, gift tax penalties, estate tax penalties, capital gain tax penalties, especially when you are in joint tenancy with a child, right? So let's look at gift tax penalty. It's about $17,000 a year that you can gift to a person, a child, grandchild, without any gift tax occurring, which is about 20%. So let's say, I'm deceased, my wife is aging, and she wants to pass the property on to the child. So what does she normally do? She go in and do a quit claim deed. And this quit claim deed, in effect, what she have done is given that child 50% of the home. Say the home is worth $100,000, she have given $50,000. If the home is worth $1 million, she has given that child $500,000. That can occur. That could be a penalty, not only for gifts, but estate tax, capital gains, right? Estate tax is a certain rate. Capital gain tax is about 20%, depending on how much the gift was over the $17,000. There's a sliding scale. How much you give over there, how much taxes you have to pay. But so this is not the way you want to give property to a child, right? And if you're a senior and you live in Cook County or somewhere here in Illinois, and you got that senior freeze, you don't want to put your child's name on your property because they're not a senior. It gets rid of that senior freeze, right? Can eliminate it. So it's more like, once again, there's more elegant ways to do these things. And this is why we're going to give you some detailed information about a revocable living trust for transferring assets to the next generation to avoid all these gift tax, state tax, and capital gains tax penalties. Any questions on joint tendency? Okay, very good. No, that's something that you want to avoid. Okay. All right. So not planning to avoid estate taxes, right? So the exemption on estate taxes currently now is $12.9 million. And if you have a spouse, that's double. Okay. Anybody got an estate tax problem? 12.9, because I'm gonna say if you got an estate tax problem, we can end this seminar right now. Then you and I can go talk. We're through. We're gonna focus on you, right? So but that's not gonna be forever, right? That was old Slick Willie, Donald Trump thing, you know. Yeah. Now, Democrats get back in, they might drop it back down to 1 million, right? So we'll see what happens. So we're gonna keep our eye on that. But currently now, and I don't think the sun sets again on that till 30, 20, 34, 35, something like that, right? Sometime in the future, right? So we keep our eye on that for you. So if we got $13 million, then we need to talk about it. So what about the revocable living trust? So a trust held property, we talk about avoid probate. This is the most elegant way to get our assets out of our name, right? To protect them while we're alive and then transfer them to the next generation, okay? So it's revocable, meaning that you can change your mind about it. Set one up and folks upset you and go like, you know what? I'm about to spend all this stuff up. It's amendable. So, you can make changes to it. You still acquiring assets or you getting new grandchildren or whatever, or you might be still in the baby making age there, Delonte, right? So you keep adding your heirs to your trust, right? Trust held property, avoid probate. Okay, one of the big assets there. You can secure additional tax benefit at death, right? So nobody really get excited about that, but the exciting thing is that if you have real estate, you bought that real estate at $100,000, the real estate is worth $500,000 now. That's $400,000 of capital gain. And if you give that to a child or the next generation without a trust, they're gonna have to pay that capital gain, right? And if it's passed through a trust, they get a step-up basis. So now they're going to receive it at current value without any capital gain, right? Control after death, right? So you got your asset, and you say, well, hey, listen, if you don't do X, Y, Z, become a productive citizen, get a trade, or go to college, then I'm just gonna give it to my sorority, right? So you got control. You can control those assets after death, right? And we liken a trust to a box, because once you put whatever you in there, whatever you put in the box, real estate, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, businesses, nobody knows what you have in the box. It becomes a private matter. So you have a trustor, that would be you, because you're the guarantor, you set it up. Then you're the trustee, meaning that the assets that you put in the trust, you manage. And then you're the beneficiary, the same as, now. So you got a piece of real estate now, you're able to, You can rent it, right? So you got a 2-unit, you can rent it out, put it in a trust, no different. You got a single family home, you can rent out rooms, right? And you can collect the money and you can manage it just like you are, and you benefit from whatever you put in the box, right? And you have successor trustees. You can have a professional one, or you can have a child, and all the successor trustee does is make sure that your instructions in your trust is carried out. They cannot make any changes. And then you have heirs, right? That's your children, your grandchildren. So this is the revocable living trust. So just a quick synopsis on that. The benefit of that is that it takes stuff out of your name. Joshua Pondexter, I could name my trust the Pondexter Family Trust. So even though it has a similar name, I have taken it out of my name and put it in the name of the trust, and it bypassed probate, right? So we got some. I guess 1 second. I see some. I got questions. Some questions in the chat, right? Okay, so the question Nate and Cheryl has: does a transfer on death instrument bypass probate? Yes, it does. You can use a transfer on death instrument in Illinois. It's a new, maybe in the last 10 years, this have became available, right? For real estate, for vehicle, for bank accounts, all those things, right? But death is not the only problem, right? We're going to look at Medicaid spend down. We're going to look at a lawsuit that can make a run on your assets when they're still in your name. So I vehemently do not agree with transfer on death. That is not an elegant way to protect your assets and transfer them to the next generation, right? TOD, transfer on death. And no, I do not. I do not create those. I do not endorse them, because they do not give you the full protection that you need while you live. So that's why a trust, it protects your assets where you are alive and when you get ready to transfer. And we're going to see that a lot clearer when we start talking about medical emergencies that could happen. Okay, does that make sense? That's a question.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you.
May I ask my follow-up question?
Yes, please.
About putting the house in trust. So, where do you start? Do you have to go to the recorder of deeds? What do you do?
You start with me, because we got to create the trust first, right? And then we transfer into the trust. And then we'll record that it has definitely, definitely will be recorded for recording purposes. But here's one thing. This is maybe a little advanced information. But once you create a trust, once you create a warranty deed, and you notarize it that it's been transferred into the trust, legally and for all intents and purposes is in the trust. So only thing you going down there and let the recorder of deed know. So say for instance that the person died before they could go to the recorder of deeds, right? They still can sell the property, and they'll utilize that warranty deed that we created for them and notarize at the closing table to show that it was in the trust. Follow me, Cheryl?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Because I tell you, I have had clients who have passed away in the process. And of course, that, question comes up. Well, why, what happened? Well, they died, right? Then we recorded it, right? So, so legally and for all intents and purposes, once the trust is created, the transfer documents are done. They are put in a trust. We just that's a notification to the Cook County Recorder what we have did. Okay. Okay. All right. So we'll keep moving on. So, not planning to limit the tax on Social Security benefits. It's like, well, my goodness, I already paid taxes on that money, and then they're going to tax me again. Yeah, they're going to tax you again, and not only Social Security benefit, but taxes on all benefits, right? All earnings, whether they be from investments, whether they be from a job, whether they be from pension, any type of this income that comes in, Uncle Sam wants to tax you. So quickly, taxation on Social Security benefit, 50% of your Social Security benefit is being taxed if you make more than $32,000. That's the first threshold, right? Taxable amount is a smaller amount of threshold different up to 85% of Social Security benefit. So you can actually get taxed to 85% of your $10,000, $15,000 of Social Security could be taxed if you go over earnings of 32. Your adjustable gross income is over 32,000. That's the first tier, which is very, very easy to hit, right? So if you got pension coming in, you got Social Security coming in, husband and a wife, what's that boy? Bernie Sanders ran for president. I'll tell you how old he is. Him and his wife, they get about $150,000 of Social Security money, right? Like what? How they do that? All right. Yeah, they getting that Social Security money. So if you're getting Social Security, you have worked for it, and now you have this particular tax problem on Social Security. You have this tax problem on pension income. You have this tax problem on rental income. You just got a tax problem. So the control of taxation is the key to stretch retirement dollars, right? Anybody having tax problems on their income? Nobody? We got a head in the sand.
I said yes.
Oh, you said okay, yeah. So most of us do. Not a problem, just pay. Cheryl, that's a problem. That is a problem, Cheryl. She said, I don't know if you see her over here in the chat. She said she just pays too much. She said, I'm being funny. Right. Yeah, I know, right? I'm gonna tell you why I'm not laughing, Cheryl, is because I hate overpaying in taxes. Talking about overpaying. It is we're gonna pay our fair share, but to overpay, because what the government says is you irresponsible, right? And if you take care of your own children, they give you a tax break. If you pay for your own shelter, they give you a tax break, right? If you donate to charity, they give you a tax break. So they saying you are taxpayer, you're irresponsible, so we're gonna overtax you. So you need a tax strategy to do that. And one of the best tax strategies, besides children, a house, and the 10% you contribute to your church is a business, right? And so you can do a business in a box, right? That's where they have already did all the work. They set the business up for you. What's the name of that business, Nadine?
Akana,
Right. So that's a
and that's
business.
my business.
That's her business. When she takes on new independent agents, you get your own business. So that's a business in a box, right? Or you can establish your own business. You can go like, you know what? I sell soap, I sell jewelry, or I'm a travel agent,
Consultant,
huh?
a consultant.
A consultant, or you like me. I am I'm a content creator. I create content on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, right? And so when I create my content next year in South Africa, it's a business trip, right? Or if I create my content in Mississippi, the difference between that is that in Mississippi, I can write it off 100%. I go to South Africa, only 50%, right? So you need a business to reduce these taxes, something that's legal, moral, and ethical. Once again, that's why you want to go to our YouTube channel. We have over 160 videos. One of them is that talks about how to set up a business, how to have a tax-free lifestyle, right? How to, and don't get it twisted. I ain't endorsing nobody, but I call it the Donald Trump method, right? They couldn't get him on the taxes, but he did enough stuff. They think they can get him. I don't care if they get him or not. But he said, I'm smart. I don't pay no taxes, and you should be smart too. Okay. So if you're having problems with taxes on Social Security, pensions, investments, whatever income that you have coming in, and you don't have any deductions and exemption, meaning your children are grown, meaning your house is paid for, meaning that you only give 10% to your church, right? And making all the money you making, the 10% you give, you are capped on that, right? So here's a little trick right here, Faith, is that if you give your church contributions from your business account, is 100% deductible. So you can stop giving $5 and you can give 5,000, and you can write it all out 100%, thanks to the new 2017 tax rule that, of course, Slick Willie Donald Trump administration put in place, right? So all of my clients who are business owners, I tell them, stop. If you go to church and you give a contribution, start giving it out of your business account. It's 100% deductible for nonprofits, right? Right. And if you don't go to church, I got a nonprofit. So anyway, okay. So well, that's enough on taxes, right? We got an ideal, and of course, what you do is you're going to double back. You're going to take a complimentary consultation with me. Tell you how to do that, because normally it costs $150 to have that consultation, but because we got a code called Nadine, you give that code, and you don't have to pay that $150 to have that consultation. Okay, so let's push on. That's enough on taxes, because that's the if you leaving 10,000 plus with Uncle Sam in retirement, that's making retirement kind of rough. Okay, not planning to battle inflation. I'll talk about that real quickly. Inflation and buying power since 1967, right? So here's the skinny of it. $1 in 1967. That same dollar today, it would be $9.01. to buy the same stuff. That's it. That's inflation. So your money must be growing. So your money's not growing, we're gonna have a problem. Okay. Let's look at some things. What was the price of some of this stuff in 1967? Well, a loaf of bread, I don't know, 35 cents, gallon of gas, less than $1, a movie, 25, 50 cents. Anybody know the answer? You can break it up.
5 cents.
How much was the movie?
At the Tivoli, 5 cents.
Well, that's good. I was 2 years old in 1967. I appreciate that because I wouldn't even know, right? An average home in 1967.
$12,000.
Okay. Okay. An average car in 1967.
6,000.
About 2,000, because I had a Volkswagen Beetle.
Okay, that's what caught his attention. He's like, I want to ride in that Volkswagen Beetle. So and so now that I don't know what a car costs today, but they say that the average car payment is about $750 for a new car. That's a lot of money. So that's the reality of inflation. Okay, so 10-year inflation rate of 3.21%. Your CD is earning what? So they got some CDs now that paying 4 or 5%. So let's say if it's 4%, you earning point something percent net, because you got to pay taxes every year on that money, that earning. Your tax rate is about 3%. So you are losing money. So you got 4% on a CD, 3% inflation, 3% tax rate. That's about 6%. You are losing money if you're in a CD, right? Safely. You are losing money safely, right? So this is every year. So it's very important that if you put your money with somebody, that you get a minimum of 6% return. A minimum of 6% return. So you say, well, Joshua, where can I get 6% return? The S&P 500 for the last 100 years, backdating, has given an average of 10% return every year, right? So we're talking about the S&P 500 been around for 88 years, right? But when you backdate it using technology and computers, that's 10%. So what I would recommend, if you got some money, you want to put it in an S&P 500 fund with Vanguard. I'm bullish on Vanguard. They got some of the cheapest fees in the industry. They're only charging you 0.5%, right? That's a 0.5%. So if you're getting 10%, you're getting 9.5% return on your money, right? Great place to put your money. I get no advantage of promoting them, right? Hopefully they'll hear me say this on my YouTube channel, and they'll start running commercials on my on my channel, right? So,
or you could have a financial planner like I do with Darwin Yarbrough.
okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so and I'm doing well with my investments. So he's on the line. So
oh, he is?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, I see him. Okay, good.
So there are ways, but definitely not in a bank and stuff.
Right.
You just giving them money to do what you need to be doing yourself. But let's stick to what we.
No. Actually, plug who you want.
I didn't want to go off topic. I just
no, that's cool. Well, yeah, we're gonna speed up a little bit, but now I don't have a problem with anybody getting any shine, especially if they've been recommended going to do good things about the people. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
Yeah. Not planning a balanced approach to market risk. So what's market risk?
Mm-hmm.
Israel and Hamas,
Mm-hmm.
the market risk. So if you had the perfect investment, this is what it would look like. High rates of return, completely safe, always liquid, wouldn't cost you nothing to go in it, no income taxes, no skill and knowledge required, right? And if that existed, then we wouldn't need you, Brother Yarborough. But there's no such thing as this, right? So you do need a financial planner to help you navigate through this process. So in the real world, we got risks, right? Types of risks. Market volatility, and what's called market volatilities, wars, rumors of wars, definitely cause that. Collapse of companies, inflation. We talked about that. Credit default, right? And that's not that's not that $50,000 credit card that you defaulted on. We talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that people are defaulting on credit, billions of dollars, right? Default. Liquidity. That's it's a risk. It's a risk of always having your money in your pocket, because if you always have it in your pocket, you're gonna spend it. Interest rates, right? That's real world. Chasing interest rates, not getting enough interest rate. Tax risk, paying too much in taxes. Taxes are robbing you of your freedom and your time, especially if you're a high income earner. You're in a family and you got $200,000 of income coming in. Uncle Sam looking at 60,000 plus of your dollars they want to get, and without a tax strategy, you're going to end up paying them a lot of taxes. So pyramid is an investment. Speculative would be Bitcoin. Growth, secure, foundational. So this is the pyramid of investment. You need your foundational accounts. You need stuff that is secure. You need stuff that's grow. And then if you're a speculator, might do some of that. So what percentage of your assets do you want to expose to market risk? And this is why you need financial advisors to guide you through that process. What percentage of your assets do you want guaranteed, right? Because you need for them to grow to outpace taxes and inflation. Also, you need to have some guaranteed money. Okay. Not planning for the overwhelming cost of long-term care. So we're getting ready to drive this home now, people. So what are the odds? Recent studies indicate that 1 out of every 2 people who reach the age of 65 will spend some time in a nursing home, right? So a lot of us are in real danger of going to the nursing home, right? What are the costs associated with long-term care? Skilled nursing home care, intermediate nursing home care, custodial care, home health care, and all these have different prices. So if you go to a nursing home in the state of Illinois, it's at least $9,000 a month. So I don't care how much cash you put aside, that can devastate a retirement account. So who will pay? Medicare, 2%, Medicaid, 42%, long-term care insurance, 2%, families, 54%. As I was stating on the last presentation, is that we can take families out of the equation for most of us, because most of us working and we ain't got time to be taking care of no aging parents. We're trying to take care of ourselves, right? So that 54% goes up to Medicaid. So now we're talking about 96% of the burden of long-term care is placed upon Medicaid. So Medicaid has a system called Medicaid spend down, because they know they are burdened with these expenses, right? That's the things that are non-countable. A home, husband and wife. One of the spouse go into the nursing home. That's the institutionalized spouse. The one that's at home is the community spouse. They can keep the home. Cars, non-countable. Jewelry, non-countable. A burial plan, right? Up to about $25,000, right? So if you got over $25,000 in the cash value, life insurance, or whatever, they want to look at that, right? And then $2,000 to $93,000, and this is very important, because once again, this is a husband and wife. That amount for the state of Illinois is $132,000, right? So one of the spouses went into the nursing home. We already know they're gonna get all their money except 50 to 90 bucks for toiletries and whatever, right? Now the spouse that's in the community, these are two working people, right? With income. So the spouse in the community that's left gets to keep their money, which is say $10,000 a month. That's $120,000 a year. And they cannot never accumulate more than $132,000, or they're gonna have to start paying for their own Medicaid, right? They're gonna say, "Whoa, wait a minute, you have to give us this money for these expenses for Medicaid," right? So the state is constantly monitoring things of that nature. Say, for instance, it's a husband and wife who only one spouse has been working, and that spouse has $10,000 a month of income. The other spouse don't have any income because they didn't work. Now that spouse is able to keep $3,200 a month in the state of Illinois, right? Which could be enough money or could not be. So these are some of the things that very tricky about Medicaid. Now these are the things that they count. They count CDs, your stocks, your bonds, your mutual funds, your vacation homes, your cash investments. So Medicaid is going to look at you. So this family, husband and wife, has $1 million of cash. So Medicaid is going to want them to spend that $1 million down to $132,000 before they pay. Is that fair? A family that has worked in the state of Illinois 30 and 40 years of their life and paid taxes, both state and federal taxes, that's not even fair, but that's the rules, right? And so now they have a 60-month look at, so that's 5 years that they can look back and see if an asset was in your name. This is another important reason why you want to move assets out of your name and start putting them into a trust as soon as possible. So planning Medicaid spend down, Medicaid avoidance strategies are very critical. So paying $10,000 to $20,000 a year for long-term care policy, is that the only answer? I would say no, right? So, but when we look at this Medicaid spend down, it's very insidious. You got a 5-year look back. That's in all 50 states. But since states like New York, Indiana, made Illinois teeter, who has went bankrupt because of Medicaid, states have created what they call their own recovery system, where they bypass that 5-year look back plan. So it's very critical that you sit down with an advisor who knows advanced strategies to help you with the estate, because they can get the insurance policies from the heirs. They can attach to the property, right? Even though they said that spouse is in there, can't count it, they can attach a lien to that when that spouse died, right? So it's an insidious system. And what happens, I find in our community, is that when y'all go down there to put your family members into the nursing homes and things of that nature, y'all the best Christians in the world, because you get to tell them people all your business. You don't need to tell them anyway. You're talking too much, right? Then you're gonna call me and talk about, how can we stop them from getting our stuff, Joshua? And went down there talking. So, is that the only answer? This truckload of money, which most people don't. They're not planning, right? So this is mistake number 8, not planning to see me. That's a mistake. So we provide a consultation. It's complimentary with this workshop. There's no obligation. It's private. It's professional. We lay out the planning process, and it's at your convenience. So you'll see my website in the chat, joshuapondexter.com. Don't schedule an appointment. There's a bullet that says financial inquiries, and if you want a consultation, you put your name, your email, your phone number, and you put Nadine in there to bypass that $150 fee for the consultation, and then I'll call you. I'll schedule an appointment. Typically, we do a Zoom call, right? But if you don't know how to operate Zoom, you might be a little older. I do on occasionally make house calls, right? Or we can take the approach, let's just spend it all, right? So we could do that. Say, I'm just gonna spend. But the only problem with this strategy is that we don't know when we're gonna die, right? So there's a lot of death. There's death, physical death, and then there's death that's called financial death, right? That one's worse than that other death, right? So we don't want to have that strategy to spend it all. But we want to thank you for coming to the workshop. Enjoy the virtual food I have provided for you. And this is just Joshua Pondexter. I'm the president of Stone Consulting LLC. And my website, joshuapondexter.com. That's my office number, 708-298-5652. And that is the conclusion of this workshop. We're going to stick around for a few questions. I am going to end this recording. We ask that if you like this content, that you subscribe, you comment, you share, right? YouTube channel is relatively new, and so we're trying to build followers to continue to share this type of information with you. All right. Thanks for attending.